The Canadian Card Collector here, and welcome back to day 665 of your daily deck review. And the deck that we're taking a look at today is the Gilded Edition of the Roasters V2, the Pumpkin Spice Edition, playing cards from Organic Playing Cards. So, no further ado, take a look and see what we get. As you can see, it isn't that standard glossy finish tuck box here. It is that kind of like cardboard kind of like colorway with a little bit of orange for a splash of color there. It says OPC. Limited edition of Roasters, established 2022. This is the Pumpkin Spice edition there. You got a little bit of extra little detail there. On one side it says start the day off right. On the other side it says Roasters, established 2021. On the bottom you got your information. So you got the QR code, the OPC logo, and their website. And it says 2022, second edition, one of 3,000, designed by Organic Playing Cards, distributed by Riffle Shuffle, Playing Card Co. made in the US. But these are the gilded ones, so there's not 3,000 of the gilded ones. So we flip it to the back here. It says roasted in Erlanger, Kentucky, and there's brewing instructions there. And then these are actually out of 200, so I got number 29 of 200. And there's a little seal. Is a little different from the standard edition. So the standard edition has no seal, but the gilded one does. There's a numbered seal, and it has a cup of pumpkin spice coffee there. And it has a perforated tab, so you can easily just pop it open. But I'm just going to use the little handy dandy card opener for more easy access. I'll try to be more easier to have access. On the top flap here, it says pumpkin spice everything. The inner top flap is that kind of more cardboard colorway. Now if we take the cards out of the box. On the inside of the top box here, there's that matte white finish, nothing too crazy there. But now that to look at the top box, time to take a look at the cards. And as always, we'll start with the back one. So here we have a mirrored back design there. With the standard white border, a little bit of a thinner white border. But we got that kind of orangey brown kind of back design there. You got that kind of like pumpkin spice coffee colorway. And then you got like that cream there, making that little design. And then you got a few coffee beans there on top. And if you flip it over, same design in both directions. But now, before we get to the cards itself, let's take a look at the gilding. And for the colorway for the gilding on this one is an orange colorway. Looks pretty nice there, that orange. But now for the cards here. Here we start with the first Joker, which is Joker there. And then you got the cup of pumpkin spice coffee there. And then you got pretty much an identical Joker here, except this one has a 3 of clubs reveal in it. There. Then we got that custom Ace of Spades here, where it is a coffee, like, it's the glass thing, like the glass coffee thing that goes into the machine to hold all the coffee there in the shape of a spade, except it's slightly upside down. So you flip it over here to get the spade shape, but it would be a little weird if it was upside down on the card there, because that's the right side up, and it says pumpkin spice roasters. And then for the cards itself here, you got that kind of, you got the standard faces. They're just in a lighter, like a darker brown color for the spades. And then we get to the court cards here for the Jack, Queen, and King of Spades, and they're fully, you got those custom court cards as always with the OPC decks there, and you can see that it's a more brown and orangey kind of fall kind of feel to the cards there with that custom colorway. Then you got the Jack here. It has like a maple leaf. There's like the trees there. And then you got the Queen there with a pumpkin spice little drink and a scarf on. And then you got the King there, which has like some gloves on, and then has got the coffee creamer there, the pumpkin spice flavor. And then we got the diamonds here, which are kind of a more lighter orange colorway, but standard diamonds. And then we get to the Jack, Queen, and King of Diamonds here. Once again, that custom orange-brown colorway there. And then we got the Jack there with the winter hat on. And then it has a bag of OPC roaster kind of coffee beans. And we got the Queen there, pouring some milk or the creamer into the pumpkin spice coffee. And then we got the King there, which is like the coffee maker. And then we got the Jack, Queen, and King of Clubs there. Once again, the King there has some pumpkin spice donuts on its sword there. The Queen there has a pumpkin spice coffee. And then the Jack there has a pumpkin spice bread. And then you got the darker brown colorway for the clubs. And then last we got the hearts here, once again in that orange colorway. And then you got the king there was a football, and the OPC branded little tumbler. And you got the queen there with some pumpkin spice coffee there, was the mug there, was the jack of hearts. And then you got the jack of hearts here, drinking some like pumpkin spice like latte. And then you got that lighter orange colorway for the diamonds. I mean the hearts. Some of the cards are slightly sticking together. And then the last two cards in the deck, you got the double back of the backside. And then you got an extra 3 of clubs. But now I'd like to look at the cards. Time to test the handling. And I gotta say, straight out of the box, these already feel broken in, which is really nice with a gilded deck, because sometimes the gilding can make the cards a little bit stiffer or thicker. But in this case, these cards are super thin straight out of the box, which is fantastic, nice and easy to handle. And they fan okay. They just gotta be slightly more broken in, because they slightly stick together, but they still fan pretty decently. Oh, there we go. We got a pretty good fan there. Yeah, they know they actually fan pretty nicely. They did an okay Pharaoh. Over to the giant fan. A decent giant fan. Nothing like too crazy there. But you can see the custom colorway. So overall, I gotta say they handle fantastic. There's definitely no issues with the handling. But one thing you gotta notice with the gilded deck, they got this, always the gilding on the edges, which makes the cards a little bit more like sharper on the edges. So you gotta just be a little bit more careful because it's more like a plasticky kind of like feel to the edges. So it can be a little bit sharper sometimes. Be careful with that. But other than that, they handle fantastic. And they look fantastic there. So if you're a fan of coffee or pumpkin spice in general, these are a pretty fun deck. And you got that custom brown and orange colorway for the cards there. And you got those custom fall themed kind of court cards there. So I guess with that being said, I hope you enjoyed. And this has been day 665 of your daily deck review. And this has been the Gilded edition of the Roasters V2, the Pumpkin Spice edition from Organic Plant Cards. And I'm the Character signing out. That's the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.